Hello, Colts Nation. What's up, No Horsing family? Welcome back to another episode of the No Horsing Around podcast. As always, we are two dudes talking Colts. We are your hosts, Steven and Zach, and back together today. And kind of a fun topic as we wind down towards training camp and when we're really going to get into the meat of things. But
Yeah.
I'm excited, man. How about you?
Hey, I'm Jack for this one. We always, every year you kind of do it. It's just a fun thing to do. We're going to do top 10 ranked Colts this year. Going into the season, obviously things are fluid, things change. Some players on my list, at least, I can't speak for you, Steven, may go up a little bit, may go down. You may have some impact of some guys coming back from injury who might be added to that list. But yeah, it's going to be pretty cool. It's going to be pretty cool.
It's going to be fun, man. And like always, you guys, as we start this off, like we always say, please, please, please like, share, subscribe, comment. A new thing that me and Zach have talked about, and you've heard me talk about too, is join the family. It's always scrolling at the bottom, right? It's always join the family, subscribe. And what's really cool is there's multiple ways to do it. You can join as a subscriber and just be part of the family, and we love you for that. If you want to help towards the channel, there's numerous ways you can do that too. I think we got 2 different tiers at this point that you're welcome to kind of jump on. If you want to do that, we love you for that too. But like I said, if you just want to subscribe, join the family. We love it. So, like Zach said, it's kind of a fun topic because also comment-wise, Zach likes to always tell you guys, blow the comments up. And this is definitely one of those ones where you can tell us how wrong we are, how right we are, or what you think. So it's always
highly debatable, Stephen. Highly debatable. I mean, this is you ask 100 people, you might get 100 different answers, honestly. So I mean, just the order. I think the consensus for the top 10, top 12 players probably going to be the same, but the order in which we get there, and I'm just curious because just for the listeners, we did this blindly. So we knew we were going to do this show this morning, but I don't know Steven's top 10. He doesn't know my top 10. We may think very much alike. We may think differently. If I'm guessing based on our past, we're going to have a few differences as we go down the top 10, just in the order. So I tell you what, man, let's just kick it off. I'm going to start with my 10th player.
okay.
I'm going to go with Kenny Moore. He does, he's just been so vital and so crucial for us in that slot position. Interested to see how his role is played out, in a Gus Bradley defense, because we've never seen it. There's a little bit of an unknown. There's a little bit of a sting to the end of last year. Kenny Moore didn't play well those last 2 games. It's not me coming down on Kenny Moore. It's me telling you what I saw and what everybody else saw. He just didn't have his best 2 games. Still a rock solid football player. And honestly has been our anchor, Stephen. I mean, as far as defensive backs go, I might, a little hint here, I might have another defensive back on my list as we go down the list, but definitely Kenny Moore's number 10. What say you, Stephen Burton, at number 10?
I like that pick. I'm gonna drop the hint that he's probably a little higher on mine. And we talked right before, like blindly doing this. There's so many ways to look at it. Top 10 most important, top 10 most talented, things like that. And I'm gonna surprise some people, I think, with my 10th pick. And it's probably gonna surprise you. And if you guys are paying attention and you're watching, we're gonna try to keep it scrolling across the bottom for you guys on who the picks are. For me, I actually have Paris Campbell at number 10.
Wow.
I'm looking at
Breaking news. Breaking news.
I know, right? Boom, boom. Well, everyone knows how much I like Paris Campbell. For me, I'm looking at it kind of talent and importance because he's a little bit of both. I think he is one of the most talented players on the Colts. Speed, hands, he's shown it in burst, and his ability to be on the field is probably one of the most important things outside of like Matt Ryan this season. He's got to be, because we got the potential for the solid one in Michael Pittman Jr. And then there's kind of the rest. Everyone's looking to fall. Who's going to be 2? Who's 3? Who's 4? And he has the potential, I think, and I said, I said this last year too, that he has the potential to be that guy. And because of his talent, I'm going to put him in the top 10.
There you go. He will not be in my top 10, just simply because he cannot stay healthy up until this point. Now, I will say this, to be fair to you, Stephen, there is never really, in my mind at least, been a question of his ability to play football when he is
Mhm.
on the football field. It's just always been a matter, for whatever reason it is, in the NFL only, because in college he was perfectly healthy. Just can't stay on the field, man. I mean, he just has not been able to do that up until this point. But you're right. Like I probably look at him a little more as an X factor than
Mhm.
on the top 10 list. And for me, the way I went into it. But as we transition into my number 9, a guy who really just never gets any credit at all, in my opinion, but Braden Smith, just a rock solid right tackle. He's so good. He doesn't get talked about a lot. He struggled with a little bit of an injury early on in the year, but man, the guy settles in. The guy just doesn't make a lot of noise, but you just don't hear anything hardly coming on that right side, man. I mean, Braden Smith, when healthy, has been a pretty damn good hit for Chris Ballard in the draft, considering we thought he was a guard. He comes out, gets flipped over to tackle, and the rest is history. I mean, he's one of the best right tackles in the NFL, and such a position of importance. That's going to be one of my themes with this top 10 list. Positions of importance. How important are these positions? And I'll just say that, Braden Smith, to me, right tackle, not knowing what you have on the left side, man, he's in my top 10. I'm a big Braden Smith fan.
So I really love the pick, but breaking news on mine, he's not in mine. And
Okay.
we talked about it beforehand. The amount of talent, like looking at it on paper, the amount of talent that's on the roster. There are people who could be honorable mentions. There are people who are definitely going to be not on either one of our lists, who could very easily be on there. So I love that pick. It didn't, it didn't really like enter my head for some reason as I started looking and I
Yeah.
started breaking it down. I mean, like you said, he gets no credit. So it's really simple to just like forget that he's there until
Yeah.
he's not there. So that's a great pick. I love that pick.
Well, yeah, he's a guy who I feel like gets overlooked, and I thought, you know what, Zach, I always bitch about him getting overlooked. How dare me overlook him, on my
Right.
top 10. So I guess that's really how I came to that conclusion of, I put all of these players down, and then I just kind of numbered them in order, and we went on. So yeah, I mean,
That's totally what I
I
did too.
think
I
that
got a
we're
list
kind
on
of,
one side and figure out where they fall on the other.
yeah, exactly.
So my next one up, I got MPJ. I got Michael Pittman Jr. I think he's easily a top 10. You could probably shuffle him around in there. He's outside of, I would say, the quarterback and the running back, probably one of the most important pieces on the offensive side of the ball, negating the O-line, obviously. I expect, as much as I talk about Paris Campbell, I expect much bigger things from Michael Pittman Jr. I expect him, and so does a lot of people in Colts Nation. Obviously, we've seen it. Expect that next big step, like
Yeah,
top 5 receiver in the NFL kind of
for
step
sure.
this season with a far more accurate quarterback, in a lot of opinion, a far better quarterback than we had last season. Um, I think he easily slides in, but I can't put him too much higher because there's just there's a lot of defensive players that I really, really like. And there's just a lot of players on the team that I really like. But he comes in, yeah, I mean, he easily comes in for me right there.
Yeah, I mean, no gripes with me. He is on my top 10 list. There's no doubt about it. And I guess without just going too heavy into it, I'll just segue into my number 8, which is a la Michael Pittman Jr. He's right up there. And to piggyback off what you said, I mean, stars align. So statistics tell you year 3 for a wide receiver is the big year. That's when the biggest leap, takes off for wide receivers. Not only that, he's proven he can play, with that jump ball system. He obviously took that step as our number 1 for sure. Now I think Michael Pittman Jr. is trying to prove that he is the number 1. I
Yeah.
think that's the real thing. He's definitely our number 1. There's no doubt about it. We believe in him. But for him to take that, that step from here to here is all about him maturing. But he's got a great quarterback. It's year 3. He knows this organization. He knows Frank Reich. He knows this system. I think he honestly is a 100 catch guy. I think he could be right there, 90 to 100 catches. And if he's open and he's doing the right things, Matt Ryan will put the ball on him. It's just that simple. You're gonna know this year if if he takes that next step and he elevates his game. Well, Matt Ryan's going to give him plenty of opportunities. He's never been shy from using his wide receivers. You think about in his past, with Julio Jones, and last year, even Kyle Pitts. When he finds a guy and he trusts him, that relationship builds and he will give you plenty of targets. So I think Michael Pittman Jr. is fair to be in the top 10. You had him 9, I got him 8. Hey, it's all love here. MPJ fans over here.
Oh yeah, that may be the next jersey that I try to purchase, or the next shirt or something that says MPJ on it. So my next one up is what you already talked about. I mean, and I said he'd be a little higher. Kenny Moore comes in at 8 for me.
Yeah.
I think he's such a crucial part of the defense on what he does. I love the fact that he's already to the point that stop talking about me as a nickel corner. I think you had a great point. He had a horrible tail end of the season. I think that stuck in a lot of people's crawl. I think there's probably members of Colts Nation out there too who it's stuck in the crawl that he set out the voluntary portion because he wants a new contract. Yeah. But man, he is so integral to the way that we play. I'm with you. I'm really, really excited to see how Gus Bradley uses him in the defense because of how versatile he is. But he easily comes at number 8 for me.
Yeah, I mean he's rock solid. I mean he's arguably the best nickel corner in the NFL. He's 1, 2, or 3, however you want to dice it up. I mean it's every year he's just rotating in at that top 3 position. Had a couple rough games at the end of the season, like we mentioned earlier. Had a rough stretch. He had a game or two spotty early in the season as well, but he really played well in the middle of that season, especially when we went on that run to get back into the playoff hunt. I mean, Kenny Moore was so vital, and he just played some great football for us. So absolutely.
Well, and a great compliment. The biggest compliment that you can pay to him is, I mean, everybody who watches the show knows I live close to Nashville, so I'm surrounded by Titans fans all the time. Is when they played last year and he went down where he went out, they were like, "Oh, thank God!" Yeah. That's a huge compliment from the opposing team saying, "Thank God that player's out."
Absolutely, man. So I guess we're moving on to number 7. Some people are probably going to maybe kill me for this one right here because he's probably higher on most people's list. I go Big Q56. I'm obviously a top 10 player. I know that most people are going to think, oh my gosh, this guy is, he's going to be top 1, 2, or 3 on your list. Doesn't mean he's not important. Listen, guys, he is an incredible Hall of Fame worthy interior offensive lineman. But when I think about putting, areas of importance and positions that can just completely impact the football game, I look at quarterback, I look at edge rusher, I look at offensive lineman. I look at those guys as your 3 premier positions, and then I kind of build beyond all of that. Definitely down further than most people would probably put him. But for me, he's just so damn reliable and probably easy for me to put him further down on the list just because of how good he is every single year. There's some hot new names, and I'm just really high on this team. And to me, it goes to show you just how deep the Indianapolis Colts football team is this year. I mean, if you're ranking him anywhere outside of your top 3, I mean, you've got a pretty damn good football team, and there's no discount to Big Q. He's that good. He's as advertised every single year. He comes through and he delivers. No doubt about it. Will be the highest paid interior offensive lineman. Probably going to get tackle money. I got him at number 7. You're shocked.
I'm surprised because I know how much you love him.
Yeah.
That you put him lower. Question for you. Here's a question. A little. Are you paying him $18 million a year?
Yes, sir.
I think that's what I was watching ESPN. I got no problem with it. I was watching ESPN and the guy ballparked at 17 to 18. You paying him 20?
I'm getting nervous at 20. I'm getting like enough's enough. If I'm
It's a high
negotiating,
amount.
if I'm negotiating in that room and and that agent's pushing up north of 20, I'm having a conversation like, enough's enough, man. Like he's a guard. He will be paid considerably more than any other guard. He deserves it. He deserves to be paid. You know, I know there was that argument that Aaron Donald had several years ago. I'm a defensive game record. Don't just limit me by the actual position that I play.
Right.
He's an offensive lineman. Yeah, at the end of the day, they're going to try to market it that way. He's going to get paid. I don't have any doubt in my mind. He's going to get paid. He's probably going to get somewhere when it's all said and done, probably around $100 million, man. I mean, to play an offensive lineman, and it gets done. I don't have any, belief in my head unless they get to something crazy where it gets 22, 23, 24 million dollars. Then I think you got to seriously consider, for the position that he plays and the amount of money that you're going to be paying him. That's a lot, that's a lot to digest, but definitely worthy of a top 10 ranking, probably worthy of a higher ranking, honestly, but that's where he lands for me.
I mean, I was surprised because I know how much you like him. So
Yeah.
it's surprised. I'm excited to see who else is on your list. For me, coming in, I've got Gilmore.
Okay.
I think he deserves to be up there. He's a former Defensive Player of the Year. He is the bona fide. I know Kitty Moore lovers are going to hate this, but he is the lockdown, shutdown corner that we need. That we need specifically in this defense. I think he's physical. I think he's still really talented. I think he's got something to prove, obviously. He signed a shorter contract. He wants to prove it. And I got people higher on the list that are going to make his life much easier as a corner, I think, this season, too. I think he's going to have a really, really good year. I think, Zach, he's what they wanted Xavier Rhodes to be.
Yep.
When they signed him, I think he's what they wanted. They wanted to see probably Rock Yassin turn into. But this is easily, I mean, I'm not bashful of saying it. Outside the numbers wise, let's negate the nickel part of Kenny. He is easily the best cornerback the Colts have, in my memory, potentially ever had.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty fair. As you mentioned, former defensive player of the year, just a technician. You can throw a guy like him on an island and say, okay, we're going to run some different things, but we're just not going to worry about Stephon. Like, he's going to do his job, and if he's healthy, make no mistakes about it, he is a premier football player. He's been good in every system that he's played too. Like, he's not a New England guy. So many people say, well, every cornerback's good in New England. He was good for Buffalo before that. Hell, even in that short little stint that he had over in Carolina, he was still solid for them. He's going to be good for us. The only question mark that he has, period, point blank period, is his body going to hold up to the style and the way that he plays? Otherwise, I have no worries about him. He's a true lockdown number one corner, and you're right, we haven't had one for a long time. Your number 7 guy, Stephon Gilmore, is my number 6 guy. So we have flopped a
great
couple
minds, right?
And that was, him and Big Q56, I really, tousled on that, and I thought to myself, here's a guy who was literally the defensive player of the year. Like you can't discount that. You can't just sit around and say, well, that doesn't matter. Like, he is legitimately that. We talk Rick Ventura, we're big fans of him on this show. Ambien guy. Well, there's one of your Ambien guys. We're not done with Ambien guys yet on my list. I can tell you that right now. But he is absolutely one of your Ambien guys. And if you don't know where he's at, well, you're gonna know, because he's gonna take that ball away from the quarterback and most likely, be running it in for a touchdown and making you pay every single time you try to test him. He's very, very good. So, yeah. 100%.
I like it, man. I like it. See, great minds think alike. Great minds think alike. We're getting kind of in the meat, though. We're getting into that top 5 for me, and he may be higher on your list, and he may be higher on a lot of people's list. And everybody knows, like, I love this dude, but I've got Darius Leonard coming in at number 5.
Wow, number 5.
There's a lot of players I love, and everybody knows. Like I rock the Darius Leonard shirt. I got the jersey. I love Darius Leonard. I love everything about him. Obviously, I did a video saying that I think he's the best linebacker, and now you got GMs coming out saying he is the best linebacker in the NFL, hands down. I got so tired of hearing Micah Parsons. It's just unbelievable. But it just shows the depth. I mean, he is the leader of the defense. You saw it last year when you've seen it anytime he's not been healthy or he's been out, they've not looked the same. I mean, heck, he was hurt. He was playing on a bum ankle all last season, basically. And apparently something with his back coming into this offseason. And the dude still put up amazing numbers last year. Yeah. So, I mean, it just proves where he's coming in at number 5 for me. And I'm gonna hear it. I know I'm gonna hear it because how much I do love him as a player. I got him at 5 because there's just some players on this team that I like a lot.
How dare you, Stephen Morton?
Dude, you had Big Q out of the top 5.
Listen to me right now. Get your life together. If you cannot possibly be. Guys, we could almost end this podcast right now. Like this is unbelievable. But anyways, you know what? This is why we do this. This is why we debate. Hey, one thing that we're not going to debate, Darius Leonard's heart. He's the quarterback of that defense, and he's an amazing football player. Mm-hmm. Point blank, period. Stick a fork in it. I'm going to move to my number 5, which will not be Darius Leonard. It will be a guy who does start with D, though, DeForest Buckner. Huge DeForest Buckner fan. And I just don't think he is appreciated. He's another one, a lot like Braden Smith, that people just don't get a chance to talk about enough. He is going to be unfreaking believable this year. Now that we've had the addition of Yannick, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, I'm sure. Man, I'm telling you right now, he is so good at what he does. He is so solid. He even played through those injuries a little bit last year. I think he was hobbled, especially down the stretch, but he kind of grunted it out and pushed through it. Just a great football player, man. I mean, we traded for him. We gave up a first-round pick, and I don't regret that not one damn bit after watching what he's done, in his first couple seasons for us. And I think this will be the best one you've seen from DeForest Buckner. So, DeForest Buckner, number 5.
I mean, I'll make it easy. DeForest Buckner, number 4. It's what I've got. I mean, I do. It's hilarious that you think about it, but he's so underappreciated for what he does. And it's simply, in my opinion, and you can tell me if I'm wrong, Zach, and the listeners and everyone, our subscribers, everyone can tell me, it's because he doesn't get the sack numbers. Like, that's why. Aaron Donald is beloved, and he beats up the quarterback, but he's gotten a ton of sacks too. DeForest Buckner, you said it one time, I think it was one of our first episodes ever last year, that if Aaron Donald wasn't playing, DeForest Buckner would probably be the best D lineman in the NFL, hands down. And he really is. He's a freak athlete. He's all team. He's been the perfect fit. I know a lot of people would have liked to keep that pick and maybe drafted a quarterback in hindsight, but he, in my opinion, he probably changed the D-line the way Big Q changed the O-line when he came in. Just the attitude that he came with, the motor. I mean, y'all go look up his QB hits. If you want to see big numbers, look at how many times he actually hits the quarterback. I'd love to know how many times he's double-teamed. And with some talent that we got this year, they're not going to be able to double-team him. And if they do, it's going to get really interesting really quickly for that quarterback.
Yeah, 100% agreed. I'll tell you right now, I'm going to go down my list, and I'm going to go number 4 is going to be his running partner all year long. Steven, just envision this for the first time in so many years. DeForest Buckner and Yannick Ngakoue right there side by side, pass rushing the quarterback. Come on, man. I mean, you want to talk about that NASCAR package. You want to talk about that one thing that Chris Ballard is just could not find. He could not draft a pass rusher, but he found a way to get one via the trade with the Raiders. And I'm just going to tell you right now, we absolutely fleeced the Raiders on this trade. Good for them. I hope Rock does great. I hope Rock goes out there and does whatever he wants. That's cool. But when you want to talk about positional value, I mean, hands down, a pass rusher who's been as productive as Yannick in his career, and he's not very old. So he's a guy you could eventually sign to another long-term deal. He could be a Colt for the rest of his career. Um, Unbelievable talent. I mean, really, really and truly. Number 4 for me is going to be Yannick Ngakoue. I think he's double-digit sack guy this year. I think he improves that whole defensive line. I think he makes Kwity Paye's natural, descent go into place. I've always felt like Kwity was a really, really good number 2. His ability to stop the run, his ability to feed off of his other teammates. I think Quity's in a much better place this year versus last year, where we're not asking him to be necessarily the number 1. We're just saying, hey, we need that same effort, that same energy. We need a great off season, get healthy, and feed off of that defensive line. So, yeah, man, number 4 for me is going to be Yannick.
I love that pick. As much as I love Rock Yassin, and but I was perfectly fine with moving him for Yannick. I will shock some people. I will tell you he's higher on my list. It's one of those things where you look and I'll talk about it more when I get to him, but it's a combination of his potential, his talent, and the position of need. And what he feels for all three is going to be crazy this season, I think. And I love what you said about look across the line between, and this guy I know for a fact is not on your list, so I'll say it like Grover's not on either one of our list, and he's a super talented player.
Very productive.
You've got Kwity who could take a step. You've got Dio Adangbo who no one knows what he is, but you just start looking and you're just like, oh my God. I know one person who's definitely not on your list is Ben Banagoo, but I've got him. No, just playing, dude. I am just playing. I'm not that crazy, man. I got Big Q. Coming at number 3 for me.
Okay.
I think he's so important to everything that the Colts do. And I think this season, he's even more important with a new quarterback coming in to feel safe. The way he plays is so physical, and he's healthier than he was last season, obviously. He got all that stuff cleaned up. He seems, knock on wood, we're going to training camp, but he's healthy right now. He looks ready. He's going into wanting to get paid. I think he's going to be a very happy camper. But at some point before the season, I'd be shocked. I think if the deal's not done before the season starts, and he's going to be handsomely paid. And like I said earlier, I think his mentality changed the entire, not just line, but the way the offense operated of, we're going to just knock you back. We want to run the ball. We want to push people back. We want to get in their face. Everyone knows the clip. It's not real, but the clip of him coming around on a swing and screaming as he took the player out. We know it's not, he didn't really scream. He said he didn't, but he was probably screaming in his head. Yeah. And then even the video, what was it? The Packers last year of the cornerback ducking to avoid him coming around. He's just a different kind of cat, man. And he's going to, I want to say, like, he's going to have his number retired. He's going to go in the Ring of Honor. He's going to end up in the Hall of Fame, all these things. And I think he's just so crucial to what the Colts do.
100%. Nothing really to say. Honestly, there's no gripe for me. He's everything you just said. I agree with 100%. Ring of Honor, Hall of Fame, check. And he's going to get a big check this offseason too. I just have a feeling. Number 3 for me, because I haven't seen him playing, because I haven't seen him in an actual game, I went with Matt Ryan, an incredibly important football player to us. Cannot emphasize enough just how important his leadership is going to be this year. And it was really hard, man. Once you got into that top 5, that top 7, it got really hard. They're just so good, and they're just so close as far as their talent level. Quarterback, we all know, is the most important position in football. I just think Matt Ryan's got a lot left on, a lot of tread on those tires still. I think Matt Ryan is a very, very good football player. And I think you're going to see that this year. I think you've seen the natural evolution of, these teams building these really good football teams and then going in and acquiring a veteran to bring them in and put them over the top. 2 years ago, Tampa went out and got Tom Brady. Last year, they went out and got Stafford, and we know what happened there. This year, maybe it's our year. We went out and got Matt Ryan, and maybe we can do the same thing that everybody else did. So he's my number 3 guy.
So I realized as you were saying that, and I like that pick. As I was sitting here, I'm looking at my list, and I go, something's not right. And I realized on my scroller, I jumped around because I was like, I know I'm not missing this player. So I corrected my scroller. But no, I like that pick.
Yeah.
I'm not going to say where he falls on my list,
Okay.
but
Yeah, after that Darius Leonard, I probably wouldn't mention a whole lot more either as far as
I
that
mean,
goes.
I like my top 3. I do like my top 3. I mean, for me,
your third.
My third, easily for me, my third is a guy you already listed. It's Yannick. I think,
Okay.
like I said earlier, it's a combination of position of need, amount of talent, because this is a double-digit sack guy. I mean, he played on 3 teams last year and he still had double-digit sacks.
Yep.
Like for the season. Like let's wrap our head around that, people. That's insane. The Colts haven't had a guy on the edge be able to rush the passer like this, in my opinion, since Robert Mathis and Dwight Freeney.
Yep.
The way he's able to do it. And he's more of a physical, like bull rush kind of guy and speed. I think he's going to get double-digit sacks this season. The question for me is how much do you end up paying him to extend him and keep him in Indy? Because he's only got 1 year left on his deal. A lot of people thought, me and you had talked, a lot of us thought he might sign them. The Ballard might sign him to an extension as soon as he traded for him. And that was a rumor, but they're kind of wait and see. But man, if he ends up with 14 sacks, that number's going to be awfully high all of a sudden. But you can't let him get out of the building. I mean, I know there's the question of his attitude and what went on, why he went to so many teams. But Gus Bradley's had him 2 times before. There's a reason why he probably advocated for him to come in. And the guy is just super, super talented. So he falls in for me at lucky number 3.
Yeah. I mean, there'll be no gripes for me there. I mean, he's going to be a big component to us having a really, really nice run this year. Number 2, no blasphemy for me. I'm going Darius Leonard. I'm going to put him up there, rightfully so. Just giving
Zach's going to throw a Bible at me.
Just giving Steven a hard time here. But no, I just think that for what Darius Leonard does, impact he had on our football team last year, and he was hurt, honest to goodness. We could all visibly see that Darius Leonard would struggle to run at times just because of that ankle. I know there's a little concern he had that back surgery. He's a guy I don't worry about Darius, honestly. I think Darius will be there. He will be ready to play. If Darius is able to play football, Darius Leonard will play football. It's just that simple. Like he's that special. And make no mistakes about it. I mean, I think he's the best linebacker in the NFL. I think he's, because of what he gives you, his versatility to be able to, he can actually rush the passer. He didn't do that quite as much last year just because of the limitations with the ankle.
Mm-hmm.
We all know about the stripping the football and punching the football out. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen anybody in my life be able to just have a knack to get that football out like that. And then he can intercept the football as well. I mean, he is a very versatile guy. I'm looking forward to him being 100% healthy because honestly, I think in his lifetime, I think in his career, I think Darius Leonard could have a defensive player of the year type of campaign. And if he's healthy with this type of talent surrounding him, sky's the limit. So he's my number 2.
I got no gripes, man. I got no gripes. I know he's lower on my list, but he's so talented. I think he's another one that is like criminally overlooked by the national media when it comes to his play. The fact that they're always looking to put someone above him, whether it be Fred Warner, who's very talented, or Micah Parsons, who's played 16 games. You know, they're always looking for that next person, and then you sit here with him, and he's sacks, interceptions, passes patted down, tackles. I mean, forced fumbles. Yeah. He's just
everywhere.
The team misses him when he's not there. I got no beef with him being there. I'm interested to see. I feel like I know who your number 1 is, but I'm interested to see your reaction to the fact that I have your number 1 at my number 2. I have Jonathan Taylor.
Okay.
I mean, what do you even say at this point about Taylor? I mean, we've talked about is 2,000 yards achievable, which it is, but we're hoping he doesn't have to do that. He is fast. He's physical. He can catch the ball. He can block. He can end games. He's just
Everything.
he is. He is. There's a reason why people have the debate. And like we sit in one area when we say Jonathan Taylor's the best running back in the NFL. We get that there are other people who say Derrick Henry. They're the other part with that conversation, we've had it before. They're two very different backs anyway, running two very different offenses. But there's a reason why headed into his third season, people are already saying this, that he's the best back. I mean, and there we did a topic on the 2,000 yards, and then lo and behold, Pro Football Focus does a topic on will he get 2,000 yards. So I mean, he is, and he's the ultimate team guy. I mean, he's a he's a horseshoe blue card guy, 100%.
Yeah.
And man, I mean, I don't know what you say about him that not already said. I know he's your number one because that's all you got left. And if he's not even in your top 10, I'm coming up there for you. But I'm going to just let you go with it.
100% right. He is my number one. I just think that as he goes, I think our football team goes. Obviously, we all know the struggles that we had at the quarterback position at the end of the season last year. Carson Wentz played probably one of his worst games of the season, against the Patriots. I mean, he just could not complete a pass hardly at all in that football game. And they knew we were going to run the football. We knew he was going to run the football. Everyone knew he was going to run the football, and they hand the ball off to him. And the next thing you know, jump cut, he's gone, touchdown, game over against the Patriots. I mean, I don't know what else to say. I mean, he's the first pick in the fantasy football draft. He's the first pick. He's going to be number one, the consensus. And I think this year is going to be a special year from him because he's going to get involved in the offense a little bit differently. Matt Ryan loves hitting his running backs out of the backfield as well. So you're going to have Naeem's going to be catching a lot of passes as well as him out of the backfield. His usage is going to be really, really almost ridiculous this year. And I mean, it's crazy to think that he could actually have a better year this year than he had last year. But I think given with what we got and our quarterback play, our leadership, just our team in general, he has a chance to have more total yards this year, I feel like, than he had last year, which is just freaking insane, man. I mean, to just think about it. And, he's the ultimate closer. He's what you want when the game's on the line. You want Jonathan Taylor in there, handing him the football to win the game for you.
I mean, easily what you said too. Easily best line of the year, sports television, is for those who watched, and I know it's hard and it makes people sad sometimes, but the All or Nothing series, and then even in the game too, when they're talking in that Patriots game, it goes, "You want to be a running team. What do you do when everybody knows you're going to run it?" And the next play, he closed the game out. I mean, and the fact that he was so fast on that play, let's not forget, he was turning to the sideline to see if he needed to drop down, and he was still 5 yards ahead of the nearest defender.
Yeah,
I mean, there's nothing to say.
He literally could have stood there for 2 seconds and still ran the ball in with ease. I mean, that's just how
We're not even talking about his 4-touchdown game against the Bills.
Unfreaking believable. I mean, it was, the dude's just,
Well, you said it best too. The crazy thing is he could have a better year, but have less yards, less rushing yards.
Yeah.
Because he's going to be more involved in the passing game. People are going to key on him more. And we do have a better quarterback, which leads into mine. I got Matt Ryan number one.
Okay. Fair enough.
I don't know. You could easily debate most talented. Okay. He's on this list. He's probably not the most talented, but he is probably the most important player the Colts acquired in the entire offseason. And he's done nothing to dispel that throughout the offseason. And the voluntary to the involuntary to the OTA, he's done nothing to dispel what they've said. And I loved Carson. Like, you know that. Me and you sat on different sides of the field on that one. But you didn't hear these things about him, just the overall praise. And really, let's be honest too, like looking at that, there's been some little shots from players at Carson out the door now. But you didn't hear about like the accuracy and Michael Pittman Jr. saying he can put the ball anywhere. And, Mo Alley Cox saying that he's quizzing them in the locker room, quizzing them in the hallways, and he's getting players together. But I love the fact that he's getting players together. He really made a point of saying small groups, like you're talking 1 or 2, because he feels like that's better to build rapport with them instead of bringing like 5 or 6 out. Carson Wentz did that this weekend. But bringing 1 or 2 and really getting to know them and really building that rapport with them. I mean, he is the most important player, really, probably on both sides of the ball. Because if he goes south, then Nick Foles goes in, and I don't feel real confident about that.
Yeah, we don't want that. We want Matty Ice out there. That's what we acquired him for. You'll hear no great from me, Steven. Definitely the most important position. We had to get it taken care of. It's been pretty simple. Frank Reich, Chris Ballard, with a good quarterback, they make the playoffs. With a not so good quarterback, they don't make the playoffs. I mean, it's not been rocket science, and it's really like that right around the whole NFL. You got a quarterback, you're going to win, you're going to compete. If you don't have the right quarterback, you're going to fall short, or you're not going to have a good season at all. So, yeah, no gripes. Yeah, I mean, absolutely. This was a fun one, man. I mean, it was exciting to do the top 10, but I'm mostly excited also just to hear our fans' reaction. Just like light us up in the comments. We want to know, what was your favorite pick? What was your least favorite pick? We already know it was Darius Leonard, but go ahead and say it anyways. What was your favorite pick? What was your least favorite pick? Would you have had someone in the top 10 that we didn't even think about putting in there? Where are you at? We love to hear that input. And we've said it from the very beginning, and we can just never say it enough, guys. You are the backbone of the No Horsing Around podcast, because we wouldn't have a No Horsing Around family without every single one of you guys. So it's just so important for Steve and I to take a second to point that out.
Yeah, I mean, and really, you guys have driven us really through the off season. Like, this is a very dead period, and you guys are still showing up, still watching the videos. I mean, still kind of giving your opinion and things like that. And I think we joke all the time, when you got one person who listens, you get excited. When you get to 10, you're like, oh my God. I think me and Zach still kind of sit here dumbfounded when we have thousands of people who listen to it or who watch an episode. It's this moment of, man, we're just literally two dudes talking Colts, and people just gravitate and want to listen to it. And that's on you guys. That's 100% with you guys. So like Zach said, please, you guys, like, share, subscribe, comment, do all those great things that we ask you guys to always do. It helps us. We try to respond. I think we've gotten to a point too where you guys respond to each other more than we ever responded. We just kind of let that go unless I feel the need to interject my opinion on something, or Zach does. For the most part, it's you guys talking, and that's the family. That's the No Horsing Around family.
Absolutely, man. I mean, I couldn't have said it any better, and we're just so grateful for doing that. We're back here for, like we said, you saw it in the intro, season 2. We hope to be doing it for a very long time. Steve and I have had a great time doing this, and we're going to continue doing this. And, as the season gets going, it's very important for us to do our instant reactions for you. It's very important for us to kind of keep you plugged in with injury updates and, having fresh guests on the show. So we think we're going to have a good season. We think we're going to have an exciting season. But the most exciting part for me and Steven is you guys, and just how big our family has grown. We'd love to double our family, honestly. Like, we would love to just continue to see that thing grow and turn into something. We're going to have unique guests on. I mean, we had some really cool, we had Engraven from the Ravens, Ravens flock. I mean, they were
They
so
don't like me, man. They
strong.
don't like me.
Just seeing that reaction from their fan base was very cool. And we're going to try to do some more of that this year. We're going to try to connect in different ways, keep it interesting. But the best part about it is, and always will be, you, the guys and girls who are listening to this podcast. It means the world to Steven and I, for sure.
100%. And we basically end these things the same way. Zach loves you. We're out, you guys.